Have you ever felt like the world is closing in on you, that you're running out of space to grow, to breathe, to simply be? I think we've all been there. It's in those moments when you feel exposed, vulnerable, and overwhelmed that the whisper inside you says, it's time to disappear. But this isn't the kind of disappearing that leaves you hidden away from the world. No, this is the moment when you step back, not to retreat, but to evolve. This is when you choose transformation over stagnation. I want to talk about what it means to disappear for the sake of growth, for the sake of becoming the best version of yourself. Disappearing is not about running away from who you are. It's about stepping into the cocoon, preparing to emerge as someone stronger, someone more aligned with the truth of who you're meant to be. In these moments, we make the choice to shut out the noise and focus on what matters most. It's uncomfortable, it's isolating at times, but it's also powerful because in the quiet of that disappearance, something incredible happens. You start to transform, and that transformation is what will define the next chapter of your vulnerability. Is often misunderstood. We live in a world that glorifies strength, independence, and the appearance of having it all together. But in reality, true strength comes from our ability to be vulnerable, to admit when we're struggling, and to acknowledge when we don't have all the answers. Vulnerability is not about weakness or fragility. It's about being open and honest with ourselves and others. It's about showing up as we are, without masks, and allowing ourselves to be seen fully. When you embrace vulnerability, you invite growth into your life. Imagine trying to grow while pretending everything is fine, while hiding your fears, insecurities, and challenges. You can't grow like that. You can only transform when you allow yourself to acknowledge the cracks in your foundation and the wounds that still need healing. Vulnerability is the courage to say, I'm not perfect, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to open myself to change. The first step in any meaningful transformation is to confront your vulnerabilities. It's standing in front of the mirror and being honest with yourself. What are the fears holding you back? What are the insecurities you've been hiding from? What are the emotions you've suppressed for too long? When you embrace vulnerability, you begin the journey of understanding these parts of yourself instead of running from them. Here's the truth: vulnerability is a risk. It feels like stepping out onto a ledge, not knowing if you'll fall or if you'll be caught. It's terrifying to expose your heart, to let others know what you're really going through. But it's also freeing. When you stop hiding behind a facade, you open the door to real connection, real learning, and real transformation. You make room for authentic growth, because growth requires truth, and truth only comes from being vulnerable. Many people resist vulnerability because they equate it with pain. And yes, there are moments when vulnerability will bring discomfort. But if you want to transform, if you want to truly disappear and reemerge as a stronger version of yourself, you must face that discomfort head on. Growth does not happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to confront the parts of you that need healing. I think of vulnerability as the soil in which your transformation takes root. Just as a seed must be buried in the dirt before it can sprout, you must dig into the soil of your vulnerability to find the potential for growth within. Without embracing vulnerability, you'll only scratch the surface of what you're capable of becoming. But when you fully accept it, you create the foundation for deep, meaningful, and lasting change. In those moments of vulnerability, you learn the most about yourself. You discover your resilience, your ability to adapt, and your capacity for self-compassion. Vulnerability teaches you that it's okay to be uncertain, that it's okay to fail, and that you don't need to have it all figured out to move forward. This realization is where transformation begins. So instead of avoiding vulnerability, invite it in. Make room for the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the messiness that comes with it. It's through this openness that you'll find the strength to transform, to rise from your challenges, and to become someone who is not only stronger, but also more authentic, more compassionate, and more aligned with your true self. Vulnerability, at its core, is about trusting yourself to handle whatever comes your way and trusting the process of growth. It's about believing that even when you expose your weaknesses, you are still worthy of love, of success, and of transformation. It's about acknowledging that there is beauty in the struggle and strength in the surrender. When you embrace vulnerability, you give yourself permission to transform in ways you never thought possible. You let go of perfection, you release the need for control, and you allow yourself to grow, not despite your vulnerabilities, but because of them. This is the foundation upon which you will build your transformation, a foundation that is not flawless, but real, raw, and ready for growth. Transformation is a deeply personal journey, and one of the most important steps in that journey is making the deliberate choice to step away from the world and into the cocoon of self-reflection. It's in this sacred space that real change begins to take shape. Much like a caterpillar retreating into its chrysalis, you must give yourself time away from the external noise, distractions, and the constant pull of everyday life. This is where you enter the cocoon not to escape, but to reflect, heal, and evolve. Self-reflection is a powerful tool, but it requires intentionality. It's not just about taking a break from the hustle and bustle, it's about carving out time to truly sit with yourself, to examine your life, your choices, and the direction you're heading. Many of us move through life on autopilot, reacting to the demands placed on us without ever pausing to ask ourselves what we really want, what truly aligns with our core values, or what might be holding us back from becoming who we're meant to be. Stepping into the cocoon is about creating that pause. It's about slowing down long enough to reconnect with your inner world, the place where transformation begins. This process requires solitude, not in the sense of isolation or loneliness, but in the sense of intentional withdrawal. You step away from the expectations and judgments of others, from the distractions of social media, work, and relationships, to focus inward. It's a time to ask yourself the hard questions and to be brutally honest with what you find. The cocoon is a space of self-exploration. Here you begin to take stock of where you are in life and where you want to go. It's not always comfortable because self-reflection often brings to light the things we've been avoiding, the unresolved emotions, the unfulfilled desires, the dreams we've put on hold. But this discomfort is necessary for growth. In the cocoon, you confront these aspects of yourself not with judgment, but with curiosity and compassion. What patterns have you been repeating? What beliefs have you been carrying that no longer serve you? What fears have kept you stuck in the same place? This time in the cocoon is where you begin to unlearn. You unlearn the habits and thoughts that have kept you small, that have held you back from becoming the fullest version of yourself. You unlearn the narratives that have been placed on you by others, those expectations of who you should be, how you should act, or what your life should look like. In this quiet space of reflection, you begin to rewrite your own narrative, to take back ownership of your life and your choices. Self-reflection in the cocoon is also about reconnecting with your intuition. In the busyness of life, it's easy to drown out that quiet voice inside that guides us toward our true purpose. But when you step into the cocoon, you give yourself the chance to hear that voice again. You begin to tune into your inner wisdom, to listen to what your heart is telling you about the path you need to take. This inner guidance is often drowned out by the expectations of others or by our own fears, but in the cocoon, it becomes clear. You start to remember what really matters to you, what excites you, and what feels aligned with your soul's deepest desires. This process requires patience. Just like the caterpillar doesn't rush its transformation, you too must allow yourself the time to be in this space without forcing outcomes. The cocoon is not about immediate results. It's about letting the process unfold naturally. You may not have all the answers at first, and that's okay. The goal is to stay present, to allow yourself to sit in the discomfort of not knowing, and to trust that clarity will come in time. The transformation that takes place inside the cocoon is gradual, but it is profound. Stepping into the cocoon also means letting go of the pressure to perform or to constantly do in our society. We are often judged by how productive we are, by how much we can accomplish in a day. But transformation doesn't work on that kind of timeline. The cocoon is a space where you can let go of the need to constantly be achieving and instead focus on being. It's a time for deep rest, for nourishing your soul, and for giving yourself permission to slow down without guilt. It's in this restful state that your mind and heart can begin to heal. And from that healing, transformation naturally follows. Making space for self-reflection also requires setting boundaries. This means being intentional about what you allow into your life during this period of transformation. You may need to say no to certain commitments, relationships, or activities that drain your energy or distract you from your process. Boundaries are essential for protecting your space of reflection and growth. It's about making a commitment to yourself that this time is sacred, that your transformation matters enough to prioritize it over the endless demands of daily life. In this space of self-reflection, you come face to face with your deepest truths. You begin to see yourself not as the person you've been conditioned to be, but as the person you truly are. This can be an emotional process. It can bring up feelings of grief for the parts of yourself that you've ignored, but it can also bring immense joy as you rediscover your passions, your dreams, and your purpose. The cocoon is not the end of the journey, but it is an essential step. It's the place where you strip away the old layers, where you make peace with your past, and where you start to envision the life you want to live moving forward. It's a place of quiet, of stillness, but it's also a place of power. Because when you emerge from the cocoon, you do so transformed not just in the way you look or act, but in the way you see the world and your place within it. So take the time to step into your cocoon. Create the space for self-reflection. Embrace the quiet, the stillness, and the introspection. Allow yourself to transform from the inside out, and trust that when you reemerge, you will be stronger, wiser, and more aligned with the person you were always meant to be.